Let's go make some big money. First up here, talking
Hello,
about Copenhagen,
team.
we've got some pretty interesting data I want to break down.
So today we're doing a reaction to the video of Master Shiny. Go follow him, guys. I've tagged him below. He's doing some investments, telling what he's gonna do
This
as investments. So let's hear what he has to say. Let's hear if we agree.
data
Let's
right
see.
here is going to be a representation of the past 6 majors. Obviously, RMR is coming in at the top in this orange here. Copenhagen is going to be this slightly less orange dot right here. And as you can see, it's coming in the second
Very
worst
low.
in all of the categories. This is extremely poor demand we're seeing for Copenhagen right here. Barely.
This could give potential, right? Because they are still borderless. So at one point when people said, hey, everybody just hated on them because it was the third borderless in 2 years. But now they're cool, right? So that could turn it around. I don't think Copenhagen made just such a bad investment. Let's see what he has to say about it.
Beating out Rio, and we know Rio was extremely low demand. Now, with that being said, it's not necessarily going to make it a good or bad investment, as obviously we have
Rio stickers wasn't as cool.
a lot of factors that play into this. I will definitely say when you're looking at these capsules right here, make sure you know specifically what you're doing if you're trying to make an investment into it. I definitely think there's going to be a lot more opportunity if you're really looking to do so. We know how long these sales last. I won't be making any investments just today, but if it's something you really want to go into, I'm not going to explicitly tell you no, but the data right now is not in a great
I
position
wonder if the
to support
sale
this
stops
being one of the
when
best
a new
investments. And we can
operation
look at
comes
Paris
out or
capsules as
something.
well. Obviously, they are in a very dire position right now, down 40% from that original 75% off sale price. They're looking at 14-15 cents. I think that's definitely something that's going to be extremely important in your decision making process. Skin Swap is today's sponsor, and they're also sponsoring you with the top link of the
Okay. Yo, go watch this video, guys. Give him some ad money.
now,
That's
talking
just
about my favorite area of the case.
I'm not that into the gambling sites, but definitely go watch this guy, give him support. We are reacting to his content, so yeah, show him some love. By the way, I love
Market,
esport
we're finally starting to see
firegraphs.
some movement and some signs of life, and actually it's looking very promising in the very short term here. We can see that the danger zone case, one of my favorites, has started to increase quite significantly. Nothing absolutely crazy, but this is a very good sign considering we haven't seen too much movement from this or a lot of the other
So they
cases in the past
destroyed
couple
all
of
these
months. Now, with
bots,
that being
which were
said, obviously
fireman
we gotta look at
cases.
our unboxing numbers. We can see that we're still seeing very consistent demand for some of these cases. Not every case you're going to invest into is going to be a perfect investment. Make sure you're using these unboxing numbers right here to make sure you're making a smart decision. We also like to look at the supply or the estimated supply numbers as I provide right here. Obviously, make sure you take this with a grain
Where
of salt
does he
as it's an
get
estimate,
these
but it's very
numbers
good
from?
and useful information to get a rough gauge of potentially how many of these cases might potentially be out there. Obviously, I would definitely stick more towards the unboxing numbers and your price graphs right here. Those are going to be a little bit more stable, a little bit more data back, but it's very good to look at as many sources as you can when we're talking about these cases. A lot of the cases right now.
Yo, anybody comment below if you know where he gets these statistics from, man. Yeah, they seem to be good.
Are just sitting in a very interesting predicament because I honestly think they're going to have a very strong period of growth, but they're just waiting for the perfect opportunity to do so. Right now, there's not really too much going on inside the game. Obviously, the player numbers are growing, and they're growing quite significantly, which is a really good sign. I honestly think if we see an operation or some major update, we're going to see that short-term price drop down like we always do, but I think we're going to then see a huge piece of growth right after just because so many people are going to be coming into the game. So many people are going to be investing money into the game, and it's going to be a perfect opportunity for so many people. If you're not invested into cases right now, I don't think you're going to be able to capitalize off of that growth perfectly unless you're trying to buy at a bottom of an
Also,
operation.
if you're investing in cases, like where would you sell right now, right? Where would you sell? You can't use buff anymore. Except if you're Chinese, of course.
But that's not necessarily the most safe option. Talking about the rest of our capsule market, we've got our data for Paris right here, and it's extremely interesting. Specifically, a couple big things I want to point out. None of the challenger glitters actually saw an increase in the application numbers during this time. Very interesting considering if we want to look at the hollows, almost all of them saw a pretty significant increase in the demand.
Let's check out the Into the Breach. Where are they? Into the Breach. Hollows. Oh my god, they applied a lot. Glitters. 0. Okay, they don't have that on that. Oh wait. They are applied a lot, man.
very
Okay,
interesting
that's
here.
good.
But if we want to talk about the
I
other
like
two
Into the
capsules, the
Breach
legends
stickers.
and the contenders, not too much out of the ordinary, I would personally say. The couple big things I do want to point out, almost all of the legends and almost all of the contenders hollows saw a pretty significant increase for the application demand, which is not too unexpected. Paris hollows are now extremely cheap. If you want to look at the prices on screen right now, many of them are sitting at $1 to $2, and honestly, for a transparent or a no background sticker, they are one of the best bang for your bucks out there at the current moment.
I kind of like starting to like this because you can make some really good crafts for no money at all. Kind of like it, even though yeah, it's not good for sticker investors, right? But still, and I have a lot of stickers, not for investment, but for crafting. But I kind of like to be able to make cool crafts with low amount of money, to be honest.
Moment, I can definitely see why people are definitely applying them. Looking at this data right here, you can see that the Challenger sticker capsule is still the least applied out of all of them, and now it's coming to a significant margin as the Legends and the Contenders are both approaching very similar numbers, especially for those glitters and those hollows. When we look at the Challenger's capsule, it's 50% or more less in
How's
all of the
Into the
categories
Breach
except the
Legends, by
gold
the
for
way?
the Legends capsule. It's very low in the amount of demand that this capsule is currently holding when it comes to the sticker application numbers. Looking at our Antwerp data right here, we can see that nothing too much is out of the ordinary. If we want to look at the hollows, we've got a couple specific ones that are going ahead and seeing increases in the amount of application numbers. Most of them are just kind of up or down slightly, very close to their previous month numbers, and I would definitely say this is something to keep your eye on if you're looking to make an Antwerp investment, but I don't think this is anything too crazy data-wise. And finally, Stockholm is definitely here as well.
Stockholm.
Very
Let's
similar
see
situation,
Stockholm.
except in one big area, and that's going to be the hollows. If we want to look at this right here, we can see that almost all of the hollows, especially inside of the Challengers and the Contenders capsule, have seen some pretty significant increases in the amount of applications that they've had. This is extremely
Nice. Okay, so Stockholm is getting applied. Very nice. I love Stockholm stickers, man.
interesting because obviously these are a purple tier compared to the pink tier for the other two capsules, but I definitely think it's something that if you want to keep your eye on Stockholm, I think there's a lot of potential here because it's definitely overlooked the fact that the hollows are purple rather than the pink tier for the Antwerp, the Paris, and all of these other capsules later down the line. Now, just over about a month ago, we saw some pretty interesting news, and that was going to be that the fact that Dust 2 is now going to be returning to the active duty rotation when it comes to majors. Now, this is extremely important when it comes to souvenir packages. I want to point out just how important it is to understand the souvenir package dynamic right now. If we want to look at the Dust 2 souvenir packages over the past 6 months, we can see a very significant decrease.
-50%.
But the truth is, this is not something too unexpected. If you know how souvenir packages work, they lose out a ton of demand once the major actually finishes, and most of them don't really have any unboxings that actually happen afterwards. But the biggest thing is the fact that people thought Dust 2 was going to be significantly different. They were investing into Dust 2 for the long haul because they thought for some reason Valve would not bring it back. And there's two important things to note here. One, Valve is always going to be doing what's in their best interest, not yours as an investor. But two, Valve is at the end of the day going to be destroying souvenir packages as an investment just because there's unlimited supply and very little demand in the new format. First up, for what I'm going to be buying, I'm grabbing a Sticker 2 capsule. This is one of my favorite investments to make when it's super cheap, and right now it's at the cheapest point it's been at in the past year.
So Sticker 2 capsule is the one with the crown foil in it. I loved crown foil in CSGO. CS2, not so much. It just looks like bland paper. It doesn't have the like 3D shiny, really cool foil effect. Not too happy about it. Sadly, man, I really like this sticker.
You're absolutely insane. I think there's great value here.
Minus
if you want to look at it, this is
50%?
something I call the indicator because the truth is it's got one of the highest peaks and it's always peaking when the market is peaking. Therefore, the market's in a rather low time, at least according to this capsule right here. And I think once the demand picks up, this thing is going to absolutely skyrocket, potentially if we see a repeating trend like we've seen in the past.
I'm not sure, man, because the crown foil does not look... and they haven't fixed it yet, and I start to wonder if they're ever gonna fix it, actually. Because they probably would have by now, right?
Second thing I'm going to be picking up is some snakebite cases. Now, honestly speaking, the snakebite is not in the most prime position right now, but when we're talking about rare cases, it's one, the cheapest opportunity to get into the game. Two, it's going to be something I'm going to be holding for a very significant amount of time. This is a long-term investment. But three, it's one of the cases that hasn't really recovered from the major drop down we saw because of the buff ban. Therefore, it's got the opportunity right now to get in at a little bit of a cheaper price point. I think it's going to be a very long-term hold, but it's definitely something that's at least a super cheap price point to enter. Number three is going to be the Antwerp Contenders capsule. Now, be completely honest, the entire capsule market right now is not something that has been on a very strong trajectory. We can obviously see that by the graphs on screen right now, but when we're talking about capsules that I personally see a long-term future with, the Antwerp Contenders
Yo, they have some beautiful stickers in this capsule.
is
Nice.
one that I've always been pulling
Best
for.
sticker
The
in
stickers
Antwerp,
inside
this
of it are
one,
unique. They've
in
got
my
a good
opinion.
amount of demand because of them, and it's got those unique options as well. And therefore, I definitely think there is some potential with this capsule
Not too
long
fond
term.
of
It's going
outsiders,
to be
even
the
though it's
overall
popular.
sticker market that needs to shift for this to actually be a super profitable investment in the short term here. Finally, the last investment we're going to be making is into the CS20 case. Now, I absolutely despise the CS20 case. You probably know that already, but the truth is, it's at an extremely cheap price point for some of the rare cases right now, relatively speaking. The demand on it is not particularly impressive. Overall, I think this case is going to be one that's swept up in the hype, and therefore, because it's so cheap already, it offers that opportunity of an investment. I don't like this case, but at the end of the day, I gotta set my personal feelings aside, and I do
I would go instead. I think I would go for Fracture because it seems to be the next on the line to get into the rare pool, right? So, and it just went down a lot as well because they thought they thought Fracture might go into the rare pool when the new case came out, but it didn't. So maybe it's so people unloaded them because they had the hype thinking that there's gonna be the next. So maybe now it's gonna be the next. So maybe, yeah, I don't know. Don't listen to me. Well, we'll see what happens.
still think there is some profit potential here, but that's all I got. Well, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.
All right, man. Yo, very well worked, man. Great work and clipping. Very good. He was really good, man. I think I saw something from him before Master Shining. He's doing a lot of good stuff. All right, well, thanks for stopping by, guys, and let me know in the comments what if you're still here. Let me know in the comments what you think is a good investment in CS2. Whoop from the dragon lore, from the dragon, whoop whoop from the dragon lore, from the dragon lore, whoop from the dragon lore.